It's still hard to process this. It's a tragedy. It's made so many people in the world so sad. And having the opportunity to compete against Kobe and being around him in the human space was a joy. You know, and those emotions just started coming out at once. And it's hard to comprehend all of this. But you know, just having that time and those moments with Kobe, it was always about pressing forward, you know what I mean? And I think at this time it's so hard to do so with just the amount of impact that he had on all of us, you know? It's hard to keep going right now, but as a basketball community, as the world as a whole, I know we're all just mourning and sticking together when it comes to this.
Kevin, how did he impact you?
As a young basketball player and somebody you looked up to, and as a high schooler, you know, not knowing much outside of just playing basketball, and then getting to the league and getting to know the person and the man and everything just that comes with it. With Kobe Bryant was just a joy to be around. You know, it was just, you display every emotion when you was around him. You know, as a competitor, you hated playing against him. You know, as somebody that admired him, you just loved being in his presence. It was just one of those things. As a young hooper, he meant the world to us.
Basketball's a family. What has it been like grieving and processing this as a team?
We all have Kobe was so great that we all had our own personal relationship with him, no matter if we were close to him or far away. You know, as a kid growing up in Maryland and watching the Lakers so much, you know, I felt like I knew him close my whole life. We see him grow up. We see him, you know, retire and go into the second phase of life. But so it's just so many people that are sad about this, and it hurts to even just think about it. You know?
Kevin, Kobe wrote in his book that when the Achilles injuries happened to him, I treated it as a new challenge, and people were saying I might not be able to come back. That's when I decided I had to climb that mountain. Does that Mamba mentality mean something to you as you try your next challenge and climb your new mountain?
Definitely. You know, just being around somebody who's been through so much in his life, who've invited everybody into his life as well along that journey, and just to see the lessons that Kobe learned through the game and how he was so eager to give it off to the younger players. Not just myself, guys that were number one options on their team, but even role playing guys. He always, you know, guys that were, you know, in and out the league, he always had his arm around them. So just a huge ambassador for us all, but also had us dreaming about what life is like outside of the game and how we can all tie it together. His lessons were small and short. He didn't say much when he was around him. He was really closed off and reserved, but when you broke that down, it was just like phenomenal to see the human he is, human he was, and just the curiosity that he had for the game, for life in general. I heard that a lot the last couple of days, his curiosity, and that's what stood out to me. I remember he asked me about how I came off a pin down one time, and I'm like, you're Kobe. You know, so it's just, I can talk about the memories and the small interactions that I had that probably he didn't know that touched me, but I can go on and on. But I'm just grieving with his family, with his close friends, his loved ones, and everybody that was in the crash. It was just tough to take. It was devastating. So many lives were affected, and just praying for everybody that were involved.
What's the best advice he gave you off the court?
It was simply just put the work in, man. Kobe didn't really have any long-winded messages for me as a player. It was just quick, short gems and he led by example. So he came in and worked, and we've seen it. So it was just the craft is the most important thing, and mastering it, and everything you learn from that is what you're going to be in life. And he poured everything into the game and poured everything into everybody that was involved with him.
How was on the court competitor Kobe different from off the court retirement Kobe?
Man, it's just when you were in his way to get to somewhere they wanted to get. Our team in 2010 was in his way to get to a championship his back-to-back year, and you go from being a young player that he might talk to a bit in the game to an enemy almost, and to see that switch from the greatest player in the game at that time, and I believe that, you know, one of the greatest players to ever touch the floor. It was different knowing that he was coming at us, and that made us all better. It elevated everybody from the training staff to the coaches to the whole organization, just knowing that we had to be on point playing against a incredible talent like that.
Were there any areas of his game that you tried to incorporate in your own when you were growing up?
And one thing I learned from just being around Kobe is just being yourself, you know. I think being comfortable with how I played. You know, he never wanted to be like Kobe, but I always wanted to have that laser focus and that laser, that nothing was getting in the way of what I wanted to do out on the floor. And that's what I think the Mamba mentality is for him. It was just like, whatever I want to do, I'm going to put my mind to it and do it. And we all, no matter if you play basketball or not, if you watched and knew who Kobe Bryant was, you took that from him. So his mindset, just everything about him just touched so many people around the world, and it's sad to see him go, sad to see his family go through this, his daughter. It's just a devastating situation.
Does this make you think about just the fragility of life and the preciousness of it?
Yeah, I mean, we all lose people in our lives. This was such a huge loss, but being such a hero-like figure and affected the whole world. But you always think about what life means and our time here on this earth, and having genuine relationships and doing stuff that you love to do every single day is what I learned from just being around so many great talents in this game and seeing them struggle and go through what life is about. Kobe is one of those guys that a lot of people say they didn't know him. And I'm like, you've seen Kobe in every situation, from rapping to winning championships to having kids to getting married to getting injured on the floor to crying on TV. You've seen everything from Kobe Bryant, and he lived his life to the fullest. And it's a joy that I was able to be born in '88 so I can catch Kobe in his prime.
Kevin, have you thought at all about a way the NBA could just honor his life, and whether it's a trophy or naming something after him? What would you think would be appropriate to just honor him?
I mean, anything. I mean, it's so hard to say right now. I mean, it's just if every basketball player go out there and play as hard as they can every single night to honor Kobe, I think that'll do. And you can't. I tried to think about what I would say or what I would write. It was just like nothing was big enough, And that's how I feel about everything when it comes to Kobe Bryant. As his mark he left on the earth, it's like feels like nothing will ever be big enough to truly honor Kobe Bryant, but how we approached everyday life as people that were, me as a disciple of Kobe who study him and learn from him. I think it's my justice to go out there and try to be the best that I can be every single day, and not just in basketball, just in everything. I feel like everybody who loved Kobe is going to take that approach in their lives.
And obviously everybody who knew Kobe, but I think Kyrie was pretty close to him. I think it was good for Kyrie just to get back in the gym, back in the practice court, back with you guys today.
Most definitely. I thought it was just good for everybody to grieve how they grieve and take the process that they take. And I mean, it was a huge loss for everyone, especially Kyrie, who's had a tight relationship with Kobe since he came into the league. And, to see something happen so drastic when you're about to get ready for a game that you love to play in the Mecca, in the Garden, and having to face that, all of the guys that played that night, everybody who played on the slate of games that night, who stepped into any arena, and had to wear that and had to think about that. I thought about those guys a lot as well, because they all appreciated Kobe and what he brought. And we know it's a brotherhood, a fraternity. We don't ever want to see anything bad happen to anybody that's in this community or their family. So it's tough to process.
Thank you for watching this video from NBC4 New York. You can subscribe by tapping the button below me, and on the left you can see our latest updates, investigations, and digital exclusives. We'll see you next time.